Welcome to the Mindfulness broadcast. I'm Theo. I'm really excited to be here with you all. Hope your morning is starting out well, and hopefully, we can make it even better with a little bit of mindfulness. Today I wanted to talk about the breath. And actually, what I wanted to talk about is becoming friends with the breath. So, it's a little bit of a different take on some classes I've taught in the past, which are more about the awareness of the breath. But I wanted to twist it just a little bit and to ask ourselves the question, if I had an amazing relationship with my breath, what would that look like? And I know it might sound a little strange, but I think one of the fundamental questions that we can ask ourselves in mindfulness is like, what's my relationship with X? And you get to fill in the blank. What's my relationship with social media? What's my relationship with my work-life balance? And one of the foundational relationships that we have in mindfulness is the relationship that we have with our breath. So breath awareness and the practice of becoming more aware of our breath is kind of like the bread in the peanut butter and jelly sandwich. So when we talk about breath, we're really talking about a gateway to a sense of presence in the world and also a sense of aliveness. And so we can think about it in really basic terms. Wherever we go, there our breath will be. So if I go on vacation with my family, my breath is going to come with me, hopefully. When I go to the store, my breath is going to be there with me. When I go to the DMV, my breath is going to come with me. And so, in some ways, my breath is the friend that's always going to be with me, that in my mind. But if I can create a relationship with my breath that's more intentional and bring more awareness to it, it's going to have these really lovely knock on effects. And we'll discuss those in just a second. So, we can kind of use the breath as we become more and more in tune with it as somewhat of a mirror. So if we start to notice, for example, that our breath is shallow or kind of constricted, then there might be something that we want to pay attention to, right? Maybe there's some kind of stress or thought pattern that's at play that's causing our breath to become more constricted. On the other hand, if our breath is really calm and easy, if we're engaged with any particular person, then we can kind of take note of that. Oh, wow, I feel really calm and pleasant around this person. So it's almost like it's mirroring our experience. It's like a canvas with which we can kind of start to take clues as to what's going on in our worlds. The other lovely thing about breath is that we don't actually have to do anything to breathe, right? It's a natural process that's happening all on its own. And so that can actually serve as a refuge, right? Because so much of what we're doing in our lives is about go, 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 do. Like we have to do these things. We have to motivate ourselves. We have to be in action. And sometimes this can be called striving if it gets to like an unhealthy place, right? Like there's this way that we're placing all of our sense of worth or our happiness is contingent upon taking all these actions and being perfect at them or whatever. But breath actually is just happening all on its own. And so what we can do is we can start to become the witness, right? We just get to sit back and pay attention to the way that the breath is moving in and out of the body. And this can actually be really profound. And there's a whole bunch of research that supports positive outcomes if we have intentional breath practices, but also even just the awareness of the breath practices. So it's pretty well researched for all of you who are like trust but verify, which is kind of how I operate. So there's a ton of benefits, and the other thing that can happen as we engage our awareness of breath practice is we can realize how distracted our minds are, right? So just to remind everyone that as we engage this practice, which we'll do in a second here, it's going to be the case that we'll be paying attention to the breath, and then our mind will go, oh, I want to think about this, or oh, I just remembered that, or oh, I have a feeling, right? And so we're just going to gently bring ourselves back to the breath itself. And that is essentially mindfulness practice, right? Just return and then return again and then return again. And each of these is just a moment of mindfulness. And we can kind of build these up over time. And what will happen if we do it consistently is that we will notice that we're more aware more of the time. And we can return to our breath as we need to, especially when life gets stressful and overwhelming. And it can be just such a beautiful and powerful tool. And it's so simple and so elegant. So I'm going to give us a little bit more time to practice today. I'm going to spare you any more yapping on my part. And I'm going to invite you to get yourself into a comfortable position. So you can imagine that you're being dangled from on high and your spine is kind of straight. And you can almost think of it as like a coat rack, right? You've got a very straight spine, and then the rest of your body is kind of like a coat, just kind of relaxing from that steady spine. And then I'll invite you to close your eyes if it feels comfortable. And if not, you can just kind of have your eyes a little bit half closed, just kind of a soft gaze at the floor in front of you. And then we're going to take a couple of intentional deep breaths just to kind of get ourselves into a calmer space. So you can breathe into your belly and then into your chest and then a long exhale. So we'll breathe into our belly, pause, breathe into our chest, pause, and then a long, slow exhale all the way out. And then breathe into your belly, pause, breathe into your chest, pause, a long, slow exhale. And then just let the breath relax into its natural state. And notice as you let the breath return to its natural state where it feels most alive for you right now. It might be that you notice the temperature of the air as it comes into your nose. Could be that you notice the tingling in the back of your throat as the air comes into your throat. It could be the expansion of your chest or your belly. It can be helpful to place a hand on your belly and just notice the way that the belly shifts with the breath. But wherever that place is for you, just focus your attention on that one particular place. And try and focus in on the sensations that you're noticing in that place. And again, notice that there's nothing that you need to do right now. You're just harnessing your awareness, witnessing the breath, breathing all on its own. If it's helpful, you can simply note in your mind, breathing in as you breathe in, and breathing out as you breathe out. Breathing in and breathing out. And if the mind wanders, that's totally fine. Just gently nudge yourself back to the awareness of your breath. You may notice that you're breathing in one side of your nose rather than both sides of your nose. You may notice that the breath feels cool as it comes in and warm as it goes out. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. And again, if the mind wanders, if emotions arise, it's perfectly natural. Just gently return to the breath. And before we return, just take a moment to notice, even in the past few minutes, if there's been any shift in the way that you're experiencing your world, if there's any sense of calm or settling. And if so, where is it that you're finding that? Maybe there's a warmth in your chest or some warmth or tingling in your face or head or in your belly. Just notice whatever's present and acknowledge to yourself that the breath is a place of refuge. And you can return here anytime you need to. And when you're ready, just going to invite you to wiggle your fingers and your toes. You can sway your body back and forth. Then gently open your eyes, come back into your space. And welcome back to Friday.